when I was like, oh, I gotta prank somebody's car, you've always said to me, let's put a fish in it. Really? Yes. Seriously? I swear to God.
I'm back all this week on Inappropriate with Jim and Steve.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Inappropriate. I'm Jim.
I'm Steve.
And we have a very special guest today.
Oh, very special.
Some of you older listeners may actually remember this guy. It's Joe from Jim, Joe, Steve Show.
Hello.
God, it feels like it's the Jim, Joe, Steve Show all over again.
It's like a reunion.
Let's pick it up right where we left off. Good night.
The other day we went to the Oriole game. I met Joe down at the Oriole game, and the Yankees kicked her ass.
Yeah.
You picked the worst
The
game
worst
ever.
game of the three to go to.
It really was. Two things. One, Joe said, hey, I'm going to come up on Tuesday to record, and I completely just figured Joe was not coming. He was just drunk talking. But he's here.
We had a side bet.
I'm here. Oh, who won?
Neither
one of us.
Does that mean I won?
I guess so.
Our listeners have
Pay
won.
up, bitches.
Our listeners won. So.
But on the way down to the Oriole game, I took an Uber, and as I guess you normally do when you have a longer Uber ride, because it was about 30 minutes.
Oh, that's
give
a
or
rough
take.
one. That's a rough one.
You pull it out and you have a tug in the back seat.
Jim definitely puts on his descriptions like, "Do not talk to me."
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's a thing?
You can.
Yeah,
You could put in like personality traits?
you can put on what degree you want the car, all that stuff.
Are you serious? That's why they charge $1 million a ride.
Oh, speaking of $1 million, my ride back was $140
Oh, really?
to get back home. But on the way there, because I reserved it, it was $65.
You're better off getting a DUI.
It would have been cheaper.
No.
Let's reference the local expert.
Zero chance. That's
I noticed that the Uber driver, they always have the Uber or Lyft like logo sticker somewhere.
Yeah.
And I knew I was in the right car because the guy was waiting for me in my
say your
driveway.
name? Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
The guy was
Like,
in
hello, Yames.
No, it was just
James?
white guy
James?
from Essex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I asked if he knew you or Eric. He didn't.
Is this you? Is this James Boyd? Get in the back of my Camaro. We're about to go for a ride.
Oh, that would have been cool. So anyway, moral of the story: he doesn't have it on there, even though it's mandatory, because Lyft drivers have been getting targeted in Baltimore City for carjackings.
Oh,
And
really?
I said, that's pretty stupid because obviously everybody knows that.
They don't have cash. Oh, I guess they're trying to take the car, not money.
Right, but it's GPS tracked.
Right.
Yeah,
obviously.
What's the difference?
So he says he took the stickers off because it makes him less of a target. And what the guys in Baltimore City have been doing is carjacking Uber drivers and then taking over their rides and picking up the next person
See, that's
and robbing them.
I was going to say,
okay.
see, all they wanted was a job.
And they do that like over and over, and then they ditch the car. So here is
Ooh.
my moral of the story.
they show a picture.
Because a lot of people now will just go in the Uber, like they just get in, and there's that one
100%.
level of security where you look, you peek, and make sure the license plate matches.
Yeah.
Now it's very smart to make sure the driver matches.
Wait
Bummer.
a minute. James Dean is not a white guy.
Well, why wouldn't he be a white guy?
I'll get in this
You
car
gotta be-
anyway.
Was that was the whitest name you
Yeah.
could think of, James Dean?
Yeah, I couldn't think of any. What's the whitest name you could think of?
Gilbert Smith.
Oh, yeah, Gilbert Smith. All right. Yeah, sorry, I was James Dean.
So for all you people that are getting into Lyft or Uber, make sure the driver matches along with the license plate.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my public service announcement.
It's pretty good. It's
And
pretty
then-
good.
PSA from Jim.
Yeah, I
Don't get
know.
Uber on the way home from Orioles game because instead of being $60, it's $140.
Yeah,
It's
Well,
a
I'll tell
$200
you,
round trip
That's
Every-
tough.
to get watch our get
when I would
asses
go to
handed
Ravens
us.
games, it always was.
I mean,
Ravens game's a little different. I feel like
that's
Why
what
is
because I don't know.
like the cabbies sucked. We all hated cabbies for so long because cabbies were terrible. And then the Ubers came along and they were like, oh, this is cheap and super easy. And then all the cabbies went out of business. It's like, now it's time to have sex with your wallet.
Well, remember the time that we all went downtown for St. Patrick's Day?
Mm-hmm.
All three of us had lots to drink. Not as much as our friend JJ, but
Classic
I
JJ,
have a
drinking
lot.
more than
It
everyone.
was St. Patty's Day. You only go out to
right.
drink.
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. I mean,
It's a
you,
tradition like no other.
you don't have to get trashed like some of us do,
Yeah.
but
But I remember getting into
Was it St. Patty's Day we ate the pizza on the doorstep?
no.
Oh.
This is the St. Patty's Day where y'all left me at like 3:00 because
Oh, this wasn't St. Patty's Day,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, no. Don't ruin the story. Don't ruin the story, Joe.
Oh, God, I still feel terrible about this.
So I left my phone somewhere at some bar.
did you lose your shoes too on this one or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't lose my shoes, but I lost my phone
And your wallet.
And your bag of
No,
cocaine.
well, I lost one of those things.
You lost. I know you lost your phone
I
for
never
sure.
had cocaine. but I did. Well, I did
This
lose.
episode sponsored by Ron Washington.
Yeah. But we went to Joe ordered me an Uber, being a good friend.
Good friend Joe.
Good friend Joe. He ordered me an Uber so that I could get home, and I was like, "All right, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it." So I got my Uber, went to leave, and then halfway
Then it's like, what have you done for me lately?
up the city, the lady was like, "Your Uber ride's been canceled." I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?" She was like, "Your Uber ride's been canceled. You got to get out." And I was like, what? And I realized Joe ordered himself an Uber, and it canceled my ride. So they threw me out of the Uber. So then I had to get a taxi. I had to prove the taxi that I can get him cash, like on the way home. So, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, no problem. It'll just be $120."
Oh.
Yeah. So I will never feel bad the fact that you got from Oriole Park to your house,
Right.
which is further than what it was for me to get to my house.
I don't know why it reminded me of this, but this is actually something I can't believe we never talked to on our previous show, Jim, Joe, Steve show. Do you remember the time you called me in the middle of the night and you told me you just saw somebody get shot?
Yes. Yes.
This is when I live with you.
I think we did talk about this.
I don't think so.
I don't think we ever talked
The
about
Essex bar.
the Blue Gagoon.
Yeah,
it's
the
technically
Blue
it's a
Lagoon.
Dundalk bar. It's on that side of the river, right?
Yeah. That bar was one of my favorite bars I've ever been to in my entire life. I
It
miss
was-
it so much.
I mean, I went there a couple times.
I went there one time.
It
Like it
yeah,
sucked.
It wasn't that good.
That bar was awesome.
There was a billion people there, and they were your people as the mayor of Essex.
I mean, it's not my fault that I fucking am awesome, and then all the awesome people come to the same bar I'm at.
But
I broke a girl's leg there.
he calls me. I
memories.
am just balls deep in a sound sleep one night, and I
7:30.
No one ever says balls deep. No, it was 1 o'clock in the morning.
It was. It might have even been later than that.
probably.
And he calls me up, and he's like, "Dude, I just saw somebody get shot," and I conversed with him. And the next morning, I didn't really remember it. Like I thought it was a dream. And then I think I called you and I was like, "Hey dude, I had the weirdest dream last night that you called me and told me you saw somebody get shot." And you were like, "I didn't see somebody get shot." And we talked about it and you were like, "The police questioned me," and I told them I didn't see nothing.
And I saw the murder.
I lied.
Well, I mean, I was scared. Like,
You didn't want to get got.
yeah. I didn't want to get got at all. But I always remember this because the guy, God, I'm this divulging a murder. right now.
Yeah, there's no statute of limitations on that.
Well, I mean, I think the guy already went.
God,
to jail.
who loves? I mean, Jim Joe Steve show loves nothing more to break stories.
Yeah. There's nothing I love more than a bar fight.
As long as you're not involved.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing you love more.
99.9%.
I mean,
I'm not
even a
involved
little
into it.
rub and tug. You like that less than a bar fight?
That 99.999% of the bar fights Steve's not involved in, and the 0.0001% it's him getting knocked out by a lady.
Probably, yeah. I did get black eye from that lady. We did talk about that, but there was a big hoopla, and people were pushing up on each other, and some guy with a God damn it, what jersey was he wearing? He was wearing a
It's basketball, football,
Miami
baseball.
Heat jersey or something, or Boston Celtics jersey. He was wearing a Boston Celtics
Garnett.
jersey. Yeah.
Paul
Pushed
Pierce.
up against it and pointed
Ray
the gun
Allen.
and shot through the melee, and
Was it like Plow?
oh, I mean,
What kind of gun was it?
I
Like
mean,
a revolver?
No, it was like
It was a
no,
metal
it was
one.
like
Oh.
a
Yeah.
a metal one,
Right.
Like
With the one with the bullets?
yeah, it had
And the one with
it
the
had
trigger?
bullets in it. And it had
Oh.
it didn't have the little wheel. It was probably like the one that like
A semi-automatic.
baboosh, baboosh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
9
right.
millimeter, 9
Like,
millimeter.
it's like to better describe this gun, I think it would behoove all of us for you to make the sound. Like, what would be the sound of somebody getting shot by
Pew,
this
pew,
kind of gun?
pew, pew.
Baboosh. Ow! So this guy got shot. Ow! And
With a fucking Roman candle.
and he turned to me and he had the fucking gun in his hand, and I was like, I didn't see fucking shit because I was scared to get shot.
Sure.
So why wouldn't you? Would you have done anything
No,
different?
in that exact moment, you did the right thing.
No,
it was
I
fight
would've-
or flight. And I flighted.
I would have pulled out
flighted.
my sketch pad. I'd be like, "Stand still, motherfucker!"
I love to do caricatures.
Sketch time.
Do
That
like a-
gun's about to look real big, comically large.
So he shot the guy, and then everyone runs out of the bar, and I was like, oh shit. So I walk out of the bar, and then
And then you just walked out with your buddy with the gun.
Well,
You're
no,
like,
and
"Hey,
then-
friend, want
Yeah,
to go
no,
get a soda?"
no. He ran out. But then the police came to the bar and was questioning everybody. And I called you in line because I was about to get questioned. And I was just like, this is the craziest night I've ever seen in my life. Fucking guy got shot and I'm about to talk to the police. And then I went up to the police and I said, I didn't see nothing.
Steve just turns into Eeyore when he's that drunk and Dundalk.
I know.
Meanwhile, 20-some years later, he can describe as the jersey and number and everything.
I
got
know.
on exactly what happened.
I'll tell you what. There's another person who didn't see anything, and he described the guy to a T. So he might have been told what to say by other people.
What was that person's full name?
Oh, I won't divulge that. Eric. But yeah, and then that person had to go to court, and I was like, I'm not trying to go to court. And then the guy went into jail, and then he died.
No, he Epstein's.
Womp, 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 womp.
Somehow he died.
That also reminded me of another story, and if this turns into anything, it's going to be strictly you elaborating about it, because I remember hearing it and being funny. But the guy that used to sell pills that was in the wheelchair.
Oh, we already talked
Oh.
about that.
You know
we
what?
did?
Which kind of brings me to the next topic.
Oh no.
We have had maybe 12 shows since,
Womp, womp, womp,
since
womp,
Joe
womp.
has left, and Joe hasn't listened to
I listened to the first one.
that.
And I'm halfway through the most recent one.
Oh my gosh,
Yes, Joe. I talked about me hitting the handicapped person.
that was an entire half episode, Joe.
Yeah, and I felt really bad.
I don't think you felt that bad about it.
Well,
That guy sucked.
Jim was like, "Do you want me to delete this out of the episode?" And I said, "No." so that was like the extent of it. So
And for our curious listeners, You can go back. It's not too long ago. It was episode. It was the June 7th episode called "Cappin' and Flappin'." Episode 80.
God, our names are so awesome for episode.
God, you guys rhyme so hard
Yeah.
here on Inappropriate with Jim and Steve.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
That's
Dude,
good.
I'm so. Thank you for joining us, Jim. I mean Joe from Jim Joe Steve Show. So, I was. Have you guys seen the TikTok video with the person who had a $4,600 tab, and then
At a restaurant?
at a restaurant,
No.
and then she demanded that her friend split it up.
I have not.
No.
And a guy had a problem because he ordered calamari and a Sprite, and he was like, "I ain't splitting this shit because
I had calamari.
I had
and a Sprite.
calamari and a Sprite." The restaurant was not that expensive for them to, but so they had to order bottles of like Dom Perignon and stuff like that to get it.
So they went
expensive.
crazy with it.
Yeah, so they went crazy with it. But the guy refused to pay anything for it. Now, have you ever gone to a dinner where you had a fight where people
Oh, a fight?
people argued about how much to pay?
I walked out at a dinner that we were intending to split one time because I was pissed.
Why were you pissed?
So do you remember Rocky Run in Colombia?
No. Yes.
The place that had
The
Krabby
wife-
Cakes.
The
Yeah, in
wife
the
and I
mall.
we couldn't remember.
No,
we
it
were
wasn't
talking
at the
about
mall.
that.
Well, there was one at the mall, but
Okay,
there was
okay.
one.
Okay.
Yes. Gosh, that we were talking about that like last week, and we could not remember. We kept saying Robin something. We knew it
Yeah.
wasn't Red Robin. Rocky Run.
Rocky Run.
Rocky
So it
Run.
used to be a Bob's Big Boy, and
Rocky
then it was
Run.
Rocky Run, and then it was something else. Now it's like the Columbia Ale House. But that was one of two places that I could go under 21,
Right,
and
right.
they wouldn't card me. And so it was also one of those places that had fucking hot sauce everywhere.
Oh, there's like at least
Like
8
different
to 10.
different kinds of
Different
hot
kinds
Yeah,
of
sauce.
hot
just
sauce,
lined
like
up on the
on the
tables,
walls,
wherever
okay.
you could just go
shelves
grab
and-
it.
I remember
Yeah.
Rocky Run. That was a thing
Yeah.
there.
It was like a toned down Fridays in a way.
Was Rocky
Kinda
Run
It was like a
corny-ish,
local, and it
yeah.
was like, but it was like a local place.
Right.
Like there
Was
was like
Rocky
2
Run-
or 3 of them.
So it wasn't a national chain.
No. There was a couple of them, and also so this
a pseudo sports bar section where you could
Kinda,
have some
yeah.
TVs playing. I'm just describing it for the listeners of.
You want to know what kept me coming back? The Starburst milkshake.
I do remember that, and you were pissed.
Dude. so they had this milkshake. So Edie's used to make this Starburst ice cream, and it was like a vanilla-ish
Your buddy
ice cream.
Dan loved it.
Dan?
Maybe, I don't know.
I loved it.
All right, you loved it.
So they had this ice cream. Edie's made it, and somehow, like, you know when a Starburst gets cold, it gets like hard as shit?
Yeah.
Somehow they made these Starbursts soft and chewy inside an ice cream, and they would make it with vodka and what was the liquor that was really popular that used to like drink with lime? It was something in lime.
SoCo.
SoCo. Yes, SoCo and lime.
Southern Comfort for our
Southern Comfort
non-drinkers.
vodka and this Starburst ice cream. One day I show up. It ain't on the menu
Give me
anymore.
my usual.
And excuse me, garçon. And so they were like, "Yeah, Edie, stop making the ice cream." No shit. I wrote a letter to Edie's, and I said, "Did you stop making it, or like
they
does this
fucking
place
with me?
just not like get it anymore?" And they sent me back a letter that said, "Yeah, we discontinued. It wasn't popular enough, but here's a couple coupons for some Edie's ice creams to get in your grocery store." I was pissed, but this isn't the night that I walked out without splitting a check.
That would have been the best. You don't have a fucking Starburst ice cream. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And they're
Started
like,
smashing
Flip
hot
the
sauces.
table over.
You just ate 12 hamburgers.
But it does have to
Sliders,
do with
sir.
hot sauce. So I'm at Rocky Run with Ben and Dylan, and we're having a couple drinks or whatever. We're sitting in a booth, and remember like the Pizza Hut plastic red cups?
Yes.
Mhm, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They were like like lumpy on the side. And
Yeah, so they didn't have to wash them.
Is that really why?
son of a bitch.
They just dump it in the slosh water twice.
I get that reference. The duck.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Look, he did
Yeah,
listen.
He said he listened
He
to
did listen.
the half of the first one.
So, I've got like got a beer, and I've got like.
And you were under
this cup of
21.
water. Under 21.
You're all under 21 at this point.
All under 21, but like not like that's the thing. Like there was two places I used to go. Judge's Bench. I used to go there and have a bunch of
Bennigan's.
drinks. Oh yeah, Bennigan's was for karaoke. That's right. I forgot about Bennigan's. Yeah.
You and I went to Bennigan's.
Oh, I went to Bennigan's a lot.
Yeah, I sing Wang Chung. Everybody
Everybody
have
Wang
fun
Chung tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. You crushed it.
Thanks.
Carry on, Joe.
So we're sitting there at the table, and I get up and go to the bathroom, and they had taken my straw out of the water and like put it into the hot sauce and put their finger over it and suctioned some hot sauce
Fucking
and just left
dicks.
it in the
Dicks.
straw, right back in my water
Solid
cup.
prank.
Dude, and this is like I only started liking hot stuff, like even remotely hot, in my mid-30s.
Same.
And
Same.
it's gone up more. Like I like pretty spicy shit now.
Yep.
But when
I've
I was
trained
in my
myself.
20s, like I didn't even like Tabasco sauce.
Taco Bell mild sauce
Yeah.
used to fuck me up.
Yeah, did not like it.
Remember when Jim, when we would go to eat sushi, the spicy tuna was like, he was like, whoa, whoa,
What are you guys doing to
what are
me?
you guys doing?
Just sitting there sweating. So they do that, and I come back out and I take a sip of my water, and it's like the hottest hot sauce. It's like the atomic fireball.
Why would
So
you
like-
do? Why
so
would
that's
you go
like-
low?
white dwarf.
Actual pain.
Exploding
That's not
planet.
like,
Oh,
let
yeah.
me burn the next 5 minutes off.
It's like 45 million on the Scoville scale.
So I drank it up, and I looked at them, and I was like, order me a glass of milk. And I got up and I went to the bathroom, and I'm just like hoovering water into my mouth, like trying to get any like firebirdy taste
Milk.
out. Well, like milk will,
I know,
like combat the
And
spicy,
bread.
the hot.
The person was probably like, what the fuck do you want
So
milk
I
for?
get back to the table, and like I hammer back the milk. I was like, I'm leaving. And I, and I left. And I've had this plot, and I don't know why, but it's the plot. The revenge has only ever been against Dylan, not against Ben, and I'm not sure why, because I don't know
because you were
if it was
closer to
both of them.
Dylan, and he should have stopped
No,
it.
I was pretty close with Ben. Ben and I were pretty close, but
Dylan and I were
Because
close.
Dylan was the driver, probably.
so
That's good.
no, I drove myself. So I've always wanted to, and it was specifically he had this like navy blue Jeep Cherokee, like the boxy kind, not the Grand Cherokee, the old kind, and he had just gotten it when this happened, and I was like, I want to go to the grocery store on a hot summer day and get a fish, and put a fish under his seat and just stink out his car.
You know
I've
what's
always
fun?
wanted to do that.
And you didn't do it?
No, it's still,
know
now
what's
he's got a BMW. I should do it to his BMW.
Yeah, no.
It's funny. You've always, like, when I was like, oh, I gotta prank somebody's car, you've always said to me, let's put a fish in it. Really?
Seriously?
I swear to God.
I mean, how many
was,
times have you said you wanted to prank somebody's
like, probably
car?
like 3 or 4 times. Let's put a fish in it. And you've always wanted to put a fish in it.
So devious.
That
it could be a
is Joe's-
catchphrase.
that's
Just put a
Joe's-
fish in
Put
it.
a fish in it.
That's Joe's ultimate level of devious. Put a
That's
fish
as
in it.
vicious as I can get. Put a fish in his car.
And it's so delayed because it's not an instant prank. It's like probably 3 days later by the time it like.
I know.
I mean, not on a
Let's
hot
put a
summer
good,
day.
Let's put a good salmon in his car.
Good God!
Should we go? Hey guys, the Chinese grocery store has sale on red snapper.
How much would you spend to throw in the back of
Oh,
somebody's
would you get
car?
the cheap stuff, or would you go get like? Would you go to the? Would you go to the pre-wrapped frozen and let it thaw out, or would you get the fresh?
Fresh fish.
Would you get?
Because the frozen would delay even more.
I don't need it to delay on a hot day. I
Who
need
ever wants a prank to delay?
And you don't want it to be too hot because you don't want it not that 100 degrees is going to cook a fish, but it's going to slow cook it and it's not going to stink it up. You want the overnight 80-degree humid.
You gotta have at least like 3 days because Joe probably wouldn't eat it after 3 days.
And if you're
That was already cooked.
if you're ever gonna do that prank, what I would do, 3 different pieces of fish. One easily hit like where they're gonna look.
So he thinks he got it.
So he thinks he got it.
Man, that's such a good idea. Now we're thinking.
Yeah.
Now
See?
we're thinking.
See how good we are with 3?
So you have to do the spot where you think they're gonna look.
Right.
I always think under.
Under the seats are always
Yeah.
like the obvious.
Yeah.
But like under the seat, like the carpet lifts up. So you do one like right under like where your knees are, where your knees hang over the seat. So it's like kind of hidden, but kind of there.
Right.
Then you put one in like, like the middle seat armrest that folds down in the back seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Throw
Yeah.
one of them in there. Because I feel like that's an obvious hiding spot.
Yeah.
And then you put one like under the carpet.
Well, then you fillet it in half, nice and thin, and shove it in the sides of the back seat. So they have to take
all
out
over
the
the
back
place.
seats to get
I
it.
need to get a can of sardines and put them in the flaps in the cabin air filter.
What I was going back to, because somehow we all went off on this tangent about this $4,600 bill.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, splitting the
Who
bill.
was talking to $100 bill?
$4,600 bill.
Oh,
the splitting
Yeah, that
bill.
was the
Yeah,
original
right.
conversation.
So let's circle back before we
right.
run out of
But-
time.
What I was trying to get at was what has,
Womp, 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 womp,
I know.
womp.
So would you have?
Would you
split
suck it up and just split it?
Yeah,
Depends on how good.
$4,600.
Well-
It can't be that good.
Like, are you saying would you suck it up and just split it like you've got your one friend there that's stuck with the bill and everybody else is left and you are the one person
I
that's
don't
left
know
with
the
them?
details, but
Or are you the guy that just had the?
you're the guy.
Yeah,
You're the guy that ordered calamari and a Sprite.
So let's say this: if there's 10 people,
Mm-hmm.
let's say there's 10 people, you're one of the 10, and $4,600 obviously would be $460, and my Sprite and calamari was $30.
Dude, you
tops.
math real hard.
Would I pay $460 instead of say $30? No. No.
and I think you're
unless-
right. I think you're right. in that.
Unless we sat down and we said, "Hey, we're just going to put this all on bill. Everybody split it. We're good." And then everyone's like, "Yeah." And then I decided I'm not drinking because that would have been your time to speak up prior if that was the
Yeah.
agreement.
Okay. So,
But if
so,
it was just like everyone's ordering,
well, what happens if it's
I-
not clear
So
what's going on?
So and this is that's a great question, and I was about to chime in with the answer prior to you asking it. I'm not sitting down at dinner with anyone that is going to like pick a bone about what the bill is going to be.
But
that's a big difference. though.
Ever.
like if
I mean-
if us three sit down for dinner, it's
We're
gonna
splitting
be
it 3 ways.
yeah. We
But we're all we all
There are-
within,
there-
within
there
a
are-
couple beers
There
or
are
drinks.
nights that I won't drink that much. There are nights that I'll drink a bunch. I as much as little that I will have. Like,
All right, so let's
I'm
say we go
splitting.
out to eat, right?
yeah,
And then you're like, I got to get up early next day, and me and Steve are like, we're off, and me and Steve are hammering shots, and you sip on your beer. We all have the same amount of food, maybe, but we're there for like 3-4 hours, just hammering shots.
how much is the bill between the 3 of us?
$600, and we go, just throw in 200 apiece, minus tip, and you're like,
I've had a meal. I've
and
had
you're
a couple drinks.
let's say yours would have been $40, and you're like, hey, is it cool if you guys just pay more because I didn't have any shots or drinks?
I wouldn't hung out that long. I would have dipped out when the bill was like $200.
Yeah.
I thought I would have gladly paid $66.
So the right move, I think, if you're sensing that's going on and you're like, I'm not hanging around, you can just be like, before the bill comes, tally it up in your head, like, hey, it's 40. Hey, mine was 40. Here's 60. I want to dip.
yeah,
Yeah.
And then you're like kind of in the clear.
yeah. That's probably the
Yeah.
right move. But yeah, what's the most expensive meal you ever had? Oh, hold on.
It's a lock.
Hold on.
It's a lock.
hold
It's
on.
one I didn't pay
Hold on.
for.
Hold on. So the meal you paid for, or partially paid for. So guaranteed. I think of the 3 of us, Joe definitely had the most expensive meal ever?
I don't know what you're basing that on, but potentially.
Probably
Well,
like my former father-in-law is what you're basing all that on.
But
No.
that you paid for.
That I paid for?
That you paid for, like a check that comes out, like you and one other person. What was the most expensive?
Yeah, like I've been out to like a $500 dinner for 2 people.
I've been to a $300.
Yeah, I think $300 is pretty common if you're going, like, especially if you're in a touristy area. I don't know, maybe the biggest check was maybe $600.
Oh, you had a $600 check?
At Don Shula Steakhouse with family of
Oh,
four.
okay.
But the
And
kids
there's
got
no chance that was worth it.
no great steak, great salmon.
You know what?
Not
Is
worth
there really?
That's what it sucks like with taking kids out. Like unless they're ordering off the kids menu and it's
They
like
don't. There's no kids menu at like the Shula
oh,
Steakhouse.
yeah, fuck that.
Is there a difference between a whatever steak you got there and like Outback Steakhouse? I always feel like there's not.
I can tell you one of the differences.
Yeah.
Don Shula Steakhouse might serve their bread on plates, which is a good thing. Outback Steakhouse, Cody used to work there. He said, whenever you get the bread, always ask for it on a plate, not the wooden board, because they never wash the wooden boards.
Really?
I mean,
And that pumpernickel bread
That pumpernickel
is
is
delicious.
fucking legit. I
So
never
good.
eat the bread, but there's 2 places I eat the bread, and fucking
Outback-
that's one of
And
them.
Cheesecake Factory is the other one.
No, the other one is like it's original steakhouse.
yes, yeah.
Their bread.
Oh, that's a place. Didn't we go there for like one of Carter's
It was
birthdays
with
a long
like,
time ago?
with an arcade. It used to have arcade next to it.
Yeah.
Now it still does, but I think it's separate. Yeah, that place has great bread.
Oh man!
Outback has great bread.
Speaking of arcade, have you guys ever been to Crabtown, USA in Glen Burnie?
So
No.
do you know I saw that on TikTok. It's one of the best crab houses in Maryland.
I mean,
Is that in-
the food is fine. It's like the food is
What about
very
crabs?
touristy. I mean,
Touristy in Glen Burnie.
yes,
Jesus
like
Christ.
It has an arcade.
like
I know.
touristy in that like it's like crab everything. Like you go there, it's like you get a crab pretzel, you get like Old Bay on your burger. Like it's that
You want
if
you want
you were-
broccoli rabe? You want crab on
It's
it?
got the exact same menu of like a place that you would go to in Ocean City. But next door, they have an entire room full of arcade and pinball games. The games that we grew up with, all for their original prices, like a quarter or like 50 cents.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's super fun. And like the
They have
food wasn't bad.
T2?
Terminator 2? Oh, would they go with the gun?
Yes.
Before we leave, I do want to say one more thing. We found out, I think
You're pregnant?
yesterday. I'm not pregnant. I aborted it.
Kick that shit right down fucking the steps.
Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens passed away,
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
and I think it would be real nice if everybody went to your local adult movie theater and poured one out for him. Can I close this out?
Yeah, of course.
For old time's sake.
You gotta say inappropriate.
Yeah, I was going to. For Inappropriate with Jim and Steve, my name's Joe,
I'm Jim.
I'm Steve.
and they'll talk to you next week.
I never